Okay, hi everyone. Sorry for that slight delay. I had to change up a couple of things in my audio, but yeah, I am ready to go. This evening I'm going to be doing a relatively short stream, but I know it's been a little while and I don't want to leave those of you who are looking for my Inkscape / graphic streams to be left out, so I'm getting back to it. Have been a little busy, as you know, but or as you probably know, I'm not sure if all of you would know that, but I've been a bit busy, but I'm still keeping at it, and as things even out for me, you can look for me to be back at it just as often as I used to be. So yeah, today I'm going to be continuing on working on the Lonely Vase scene that I would have started probably about 2-3 months ago, and I'm not sure how far I'm going to get today because it's not going to be as long a stream as I often do, but yeah, I'm hoping to get some progress today on the details of the scene, the outside parts of the scene, of course, which you would know if you've been watching, and if you haven't been watching, you'll soon see what I'm talking about. Alright, so just one quick reminder, that is that I am using the music from Creators Live on YouTube. You can check them out. If you're not familiar with them, they do free Afrobeats and sound effects for content creators like myself, and they have some pretty awesome stuff. So yeah, you can go and check them out. And other than that, I don't have anything else to tell you about, so we'll just get started right away. Alright, so as you know, my program of choice is Inkscape for those who are new here, and there's a new release coming soon, which is actually what I'm using. I like to use the pre-release version not only to find any bugs that may be there, which I have to admit I don't report as often as I should, but yeah, I do like to check for any bugs that are there, but also new features, and Inkscape 1.2 is going to have quite a number of new features. I won't be showing any today, but just a little shout out to Inkscape for those of you who are not familiar. You can go check it out. I'm trying to remember where I have my my scene saved here. Oh yeah, it's in streams. I was brain freezing for a second there. Long day. Alright, I'm actually looking in the wrong places on my note. Oh yes, in projects. Still brain freezing, unfortunately. Okay, it's not in projects either, is it? So where did I save this file? I have not looked at it for a while, so yeah, there it is. Oops, looks like Inkscape crashed on us, so I'll try launching it again. Probably this file was too big, because as you can see that's like 16 megabytes. I hope that's all it is and not a bug. If you're watching now, you're probably going to just be seeing a black screen, but not to worry, that will be fixed. Oh, there we are, yeah. Yeah, this scene is pretty hefty, as you can tell, so it's taking a little while to draw, but yeah. We're ready to go again. Alright, so last time I was here, I would have added these birds. I think they look pretty cute. But I'm going to add some other details now, which should be like leaves and stuff. I'm not quite certain I want to complicate this external scene too much because it is a simple scene and I want to keep that simplicity to an extent, so I'm probably going to keep it pretty simple on a tree. Alright, let's see, it should be in here. Right, here we are. Cool, so this is the layer we want to draw in. I just need to make sure I had everything correct. And we can get started. Except that my tablet, I forgot to plug it in. And I'm here trying to draw, nothing's happening. Let me just plug in my tablet quickly. That would tend to happen if you don't plug it in, you wouldn't be able to draw with it, you know. Just a note to self. Alright, so I'm going to be creating some leaves here. And what I'm going to do is use a square as the basis. Bringing the green closer to blue because that gives a more natural color than just plain old green itself. If you come closer to blue, you get something similar to what nature actually has, because leaves reflect not just green, but they also reflect blue, believe it or not. I'm going to take this down just a notch and make it a gradient. And for this color here, the second color in the gradient, I'm going to make it darker and bring it a little closer to blue as well. Oops, I accidentally pressed a little too hard and it went all the way up to 100. Now good, with the color in place, I can go ahead and turn this into a path. Then I can add some points to this. Some nodes, I should say. And I'm going to make these curves. Select these two as well and resize. There you have it. The basic leaf is in place. So we can adjust this as we need and then duplicate it to create others. Alright, I really don't want to modify the gradient here, so I'm going to see if I can zoom in. I obviously zoomed in a little bit too much. Another thing I forgot to do is turn off filter so this can draw a little bit faster. Alright, there we go. I shouldn't even say a little bit because clearly it is much faster. So what happens when you're using old hardware? It really cannot handle modern technology. Alright, so I'm going to rotate this to put it in place. I'll rotate and shift to put it in place. I think, no, I'm looking at it here, it could probably also be resized. Okay, that looks pretty nice, so I'm going to just duplicate this and put some more around the tree. Oops, didn't mean to drag that. Now actually, what I'm going to do is just spray these into place because it will be too much work duplicating all of them. So let me just make sure I have the right tool, right? Sprays A, so now I can just spray them. Oops, too many. Alright, I need to turn down the amount. think about 5 should be good. Still a bit big, obviously, so let me also move the width down to something like 5 as well and see if this does any better. Too many again, so I'm going to bring this down. Hopefully it will work now as I want it to, or maybe not. Turning off pressure. Hopefully that will help. Yeah, it did. I'll have to rotate some of these when I'm done though, because as you can see, they're kind of coming out just anyhow, and they don't look as good as they should. But that's not too big of a deal. At least I don't have to copy and paste. I mean, come to think of it, I could really just cover these branches in leaves and not really worry too much about the branches showing. That would probably look a little more realistic. So let me try that actually and see how that looks. If I'm not satisfied, I can just undo, because when you use this tool, it's basically one action, so I don't need to worry about undoing a million times. Okay, that's pretty big, so let me bring this back down to something a little bit more reasonable. Yeah, there we go. This actually isn't too bad. It's only the strays I'm going to need to put into place, obviously, but this actually doesn't look bad at all. And you would probably notice too that because I use a gradient, everything kind of looks a lot more natural, because it looks like there are shadows on the leaves naturally rather than something just, you know, plain and repeated. Let me see something here. I should be able, if I'm not mistaken, to actually move these into place using the Sculpt Tool. If I'm understanding this correctly or remembering correctly, this should be able to work. So let me see if this works. Alright, push parts in any direction. Yep, it works. Or at least it did work for one of them, but it didn't work with the rest. I'll try again, and I hope it works this time. Nah, it's not working, but it did work with one of them. I'm not sure why it's not working with the rest. Alright, I didn't even remember this has move objects in any direction. Silly me was using push instead of move objects, so yeah. Alright, there we go. So I can bunch these all up together on the brush itself. And I don't have to worry about doing this with individual leaves. Cool, isn't it? Obviously the goal here is not perfect realism. I'm basically just trying to cover this with as many leaves as I can so that it looks somewhat realistic, because we still want this to look like a drawing at the end of the day. make this smaller so that you can move some stuff with a little more fine detail. Should be able to get stuff in place better now. Kind of feels like I'm using a leaf blower or something to put these leaves in place. Not gonna lie, this is rather relaxing to do. There we go. Not too bad. Something just crossed my mind, and this is one of the pretty fun things you can do with scenes sometimes, and that's that you can make it look as though some of these leaves are blowing off in the wind. It gives more life to the scene and makes things look a little more interesting. There we go. Let's see how this looks at 100%, and of course with filters turned back on, so we can actually see the final scene. Okay, getting some artifacts around here for some reason, I'm not too sure why. Okay, not too bad, but what I am going to do is copy these and blur them. Well, I should say duplicate and blur, so we get some breaking up of the outlines, makes things look a little bit more realistic. You can also lower the opacity, of course, so that the blurring is on the edges, or at least more visible, I should say, along the edges, because it's still going to be visible everywhere, but you want it to be more visible along the edges, so it looks a little bit more realistic. I'm also going to group these that I duplicated so I can move or delete them at any time if I need to. And of course I just put them behind the others so that the detail from the others comes out a little more. And there you go. I'm kind of contemplating if I want to add more leaves above here or if I just want to leave it kind of sparse. I think it might actually look relatively nice with it just being sparse like this. Only thing I want to do though is change this color so it looks a little darker and also a little more natural, like railwood. To add to this realism, I'm going to use some strokes and blur those, but first I'm going to turn back off filters so we can actually get some speed. I think I'm going to use the pencil tool today, which actually has had some improvements recently, but we will talk about those in an upcoming stream, which is being planned. Y'all will learn more about that in the future. I'm not going to say any more than that. Right, I don't need this to be so thick. There we go. Now, in case you're wondering, these lines do have a purpose, but it is not going to be apparent until they're blurred. Oops. Now I can select all of these from within this layer by coming to here and selecting like this. Should give me all of those at once. I can group them and then drag if I want, just to be sure that I have everything I want. Yep, there we go. Right, so let's ungroup those and go to View, Display Mode, back to normal. And let's turn on blurring on all these lines. Giving them a radial gradient, then grouping everything, duplicating. Oh wait, let me ungroup for a second here and undo that. Let me see. Right, so grab this, ungroup. Right, so we keep everything selected. Let's turn on the blurring on these. Turn up their opacity. Then we're going to group and blur the group this time. And of course this is a duplicate of the original. But it's sitting on top of the original to give us some layered effects. Oops, didn't need to take that. Now, for anyone watching for the first time who doesn't know what I'm doing, I always say there is method to my madness. And when you're doing vector graphics as opposed to painting, you sometimes have to do layering of techniques and layering of features and all that a little bit differently than you may be accustomed to with painting. So just watch and learn, basically, because it's a little harder to explain than it is to demonstrate. So we're going to use this lighter color here to give some texture and detail to the bark a bit. And as I always say when I'm doing designs, especially natural looking designs, one of the things that makes things look a little more natural and a little more realistic is some control chaos. Nature has a lot of it. Right, now I'm going to select this group again and duplicate, bring it to the top, blur it some more, and this will help to give some more texture to the wood. Which you'll have to adjust as you go, obviously, because you have to watch how the actual final result looks and keep tweaking until you get what you like. Not looking too bad. Now I'm going to actually use calligraphic strokes and add some more texture to this, using a dark brown color this time. That's a bit too thick. Not even a bit, that was way too thick. Oops. Pressed the wrong key combination there. These scratches, if you will, serve to break up some of the detail that's underneath them, and when we blur them, they will help to blend everything together, giving us a more natural look. Alright, so let's select all of these now. Right, we can minimize these groups here so I can see what I'm actually working with a little better. Alright, so from path whatever that number is down to path whatever this number is, select all them, group them, and blur. I'm going to try a blend mode here for a second and see what results I get. Sometimes I like to play with these and see if they can add to the realism a little bit. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Oh, I like that. That looks pretty good. Free detail with minimal effort. Good. That looks nice. I'm going to do the same thing again using some darker brown that is not as close to the orange color that the other one carries. That's a bit too bright there. Let me try this again. Still too bright. Yeah, there we go. And again, we're going to select all these paths and group them, blur, but not as much as the last time because we still want this detail to be visible. Just bit myself there by accident. I'm using multiply so it darkens everything. I'm just going to adjust the opacity until I get the result that I want. So good, now it looks as though this tree has seen some things. Right, so with all this in place, I think the tree is looking pretty natural. Of course, it looks better through the glass to me than it does here where the glass is not covering it. But I'm not going to stress over that. I get a little bit pedantic over things like that, but I'm not going to stress over it. It looks good as is. What I do want to do though is add some sheen to the glass. Alright, good. Just wanted to make sure I had the right layer selected. So I'm going to lock the other layers below it. And above. Okay, wait. I nearly selected the wrong one to lock, so let me see what this here is. This is a group. Can lock this, and this, and this. Don't want to end up putting things in the wrong layer. Good, so all that said and done, we can make this a lot thicker. Choose white as the color. Oops. I missed it. Right, let's actually put something in place there. Good. Just want to make sure I have the right color. So for the sheen on the glass, you want to consider where the light is falling and how you want it to be reflected. So in our scene, we know that most of the light is coming from this direction, like where the road is slanted toward, and hitting like around this area and kind of having it fall off on the edges like that. So we want to reflect the same thing on the glass, and that means that basically this area up here will not have a lot of light reflected off of it because the light is probably going to pass through it, whereas this area over here is likely to reflect light more, as well as this area, and possibly even on this end there may be some light reflected off of it. But not going to focus too much on these because working out the physics in my head is too much. So we're just going to focus mostly on this one and maybe add a little bit of something here just to add to character in the scene. I'm going to draw in this direction, like from here to here, rather than up and down, because that's more or less where the light will reflect. Now, I know at first glance you're probably thinking, what on earth are you doing? But this will all make sense when I'm done, so just watch and see where I go with this. I'm going to simplify this just a little bit to remove some of the extra lines that it has. Yeah, there we go. There we are. Now, for color, I'm going to use a gradient on each of these, and I'm going to have it come from the top down the bottom like that. Starting with a relatively pale, well, not really pale, but relatively translucent white, and a pretty much transparent white at the end. Not completely transparent, but close. I'm going to need to resize these just a little bit because what we are about to do is blur them. I'm going to bring down their opacity a bit as well, seeing as they are blurred, and we are going to layer them on top of one another with duplicates. Rotate these just a little bit as well. giving the impression of the light kind of falling in different ways and not just in one particular way. And also moving them slightly out of position. Kind of like the effect of a lens flare of sorts. Alright, so now it looks like if the light has fallen on this side a little bit, we could probably add some over here as well, but not as intense. So what I'm going to do is duplicate this and move it across. Duplicate some more times and keep shifting until I get the result that I want, and I'll be satisfied after that. Good, there we go. It's not too extreme, but you can see there's some sheen on the glass. And if you really wanted to add something a little more intense, what you can do is probably just add like maybe a single line or so in the corner. You don't want to overdo it, of course, because you usually don't see too much of this on glass in real life. If you want, you could probably even make it circular like this. And of course, remember, randomness and organized chaos add to realism, so I'm not doing an actual ellipse or a circle. Then we're going to blur again, of course. Duplicate, resize, make it a lot smaller than before, and bring it into position. Alright, they won't be long. I'm going to make that less less opaque, sorry. This is the wrong word there just now. I had to stop myself before I said the wrong thing. So we're going to make it less opaque, not less transparent. Moving a duplicate just above, and another duplicate just off to the side. And there we are. Alright, I'm going to select all of these down here and just group and reduce their opacity a little bit because my zoom out is still a little bit strong. I don't want it to be too strong. So these windows here, I don't really want to overdo it with the glare and the sheen on these, so I'm just going to add a slight curved sheen on them. And I'm not going to do anything too fancy with these, just going to simplify, blur, and change the opacity. just selected the wrong thing, so let me undo that and go again. Alright, everybody selected, simplify, which is Control L. Reduce their alpha a bit. Turn up the blur. Turn on that opacity. We're just going to keep adjusting this until we get the result we're looking for, which is that it's very subtle, nothing too strong, but you can still tell that there is a slight difference in sheen there. Okay, looking good. Now, what to next? I think this shadow on the floor is actually unnecessary, so I'm going to take this out of the scene altogether. Let's see about the windows, so what's going on here? You know, come to think of it, this scene may actually do better without it, unless, what just crossed my mind, it wasn't adjust this and kind of like blend these two pieces together, because they weren't really fitting together as well as I wanted. But it just crossed my mind, what if I do this and just flatten them? It might actually not look too bad. I'm gonna also duplicate and use a blend mode and see how this looks. Alright, no need blurring on there. Oh, I see why the blur was on now. Of course, not everything is blurred, but some of them are. And I can see why. Okay, that actually looks a bit better now that it is flattened, but I'm still not quite sure if I like the color per se. Okay, that looks a bit better. Still not perfect, but perfection is not always necessary, so I'll leave it. Alright, so the vase needs a minor adjustment to the base, which is what I will do right away. And all I need to do here is adjust this curve. I wish there was a way to kind of like map symmetry on either side. That would be really cool. You can do it in Blender, but I'm not sure if you can do it in Inkscape, and I don't think there's any way to do that. But it'd be really cool if I could like select this half over here, or better yet, like select everything, and if there's like an equal number of vertices or whatever, well, I'm speaking Blender talk, now I'm speaking 3D. If there's an equal number of nodes on either side, like put them in symmetry, that would be really cool. I mean, probably also kind of complicated to accomplish, but it would be cool. Alright, so let me lock this layer. The picture frame. I am thinking I may remove this altogether because the picture, it was adding to the scene in my mind originally, but I think it actually looks better without it. You just take one last look. Yeah, it will be much better without that picture frame, so picture frame is gonna go. And I was thinking to add a house out here in the window, so let me get back to the window and add that house I was talking about before. Just a corner of one though, so nothing too fancy or too complicated to accomplish. Okay, that's not what I want. I want to align... Oh, there it is. Align nodes, right. That's what I was looking for. Things have changed up just a little bit, so I didn't realize that this was now on the same section as these. Because I think, if I remember correctly, it used to change depending on the mode you're in. Alright, so I'm going to move this down. Don't need it to be so far outside the canvas. Let's also convert this to a path and do the same with the top of it. Oops. Accidentally rotated the canvas. Okay, I had a plan in mind, but then I changed my mind, so let me see here. Right, I can delete this. I'm going to draw a rectangle here. And give it a kind of darker background. Oh, wait a minute, I just realized this one behind here probably has some opacity issues. Yes, it does. I should have picked that up at first. Alright, music is done, but I am also nearly done myself, so I'm going to just put on a quick playlist here. Alright, so this one. this is going to form the base of the house around the outer edge. We just need to shift it like this and then move it downward, and of course move it behind everything else. Right, there we go. This one can move up to here. Get a darker brown, seeing as it is going to go behind the wall. And there we go. Alright, so object to path. Let's add some points in between these. And then delete the ones that we don't need. And convert all the points to corners. And there it is. It's right within the canvas. Goes around the outside of the wall like that. No one is any wiser that that's not actually a real 3D object, so to speak. Alright, I want to make one adjustment here. We need to see that from a little hair up. There we go. Just a minor adjustment because I'm pedantic like that. I'm trying desperately to select this grass, but it is very hard to do for whatever reason. Right, let's get these filters back off so I can actually function. Let's see if I can select the grass. Or wait a minute. Okay, see this? This is coming out all together. So I can select the grass. Or is the grass on another layer? Yep, grass is in another layer, but that blue thing can go anyway because it's not serving any purpose. Oh, there it is. So we couldn't select it. Oops. Not to worry, these are going to be turned into miniatures. That was just to get the basic shape. And now I just need to select it if my computer will allow me to do that. Okay, I don't want the glass. I don't want that thing either. So why can't I select anything? There we go. Alright, group, and resize down to a very minimal size. We're going to give this a radial gradient. That blue doesn't actually look that bad, come to think of it. Alright, so now we are going to paint. Or more like spray the objects into place. Actually, before I do this, let me undo and create a layer for these. Alright, so this is group, whatever it is. We're going to drop this in a sub layer above the other one. And move this group into that sub layer, so that we can then lock the other layer below it and only work with the layer that we want. We don't want too much rotation, so I'm going to turn the rotation down quite a bit to like 5 or so, and then we can just get to spraying these all over the place. Right, let's turn the amount up a bit. Hopefully this will give me more coverage. Oops, going outside the window there by accident. In fact, let me leave it, because I can just delete the extraneous details. It'll be more work to undo than it is to just delete later. Alrighty. I could add a whole lot more of those, but I really don't want to at this point in time because it will take forever to get coverage of all of them. So I'm just going to delete the extras from the bottom below the edge of the window. Okay, this one being rather stubborn. Okay, I'm going to turn filters back on so I can see what I'm actually doing. And now all of these here, we want to group this, well, more like select this layer all together and go to blend mode. Using overlay first to see if this gives me the effect that I want. Okay, maybe let me see if our light gives me the effect I'm looking for, or multiply. Usually one of these three will hit that sweet spot. Maybe I'll actually end up having to duplicate the layer and blending them all together. Alright, so multiply first. And I'm going to use blurring as well, but that can be a little bit slow. Alright, so here's what I'm going to do. Delete that file over there. Grab everybody and group them because I think the performance will be a little bit better once that is the case. That they're all grouped together. It would also be way better if I made them one object. But then of course it would be impossible to use them to paint again when I need to. So a million of one of these right here. Well, that is a lot of objects. Yeah, Inkscape cannot handle selecting all those objects at once. I don't blame it though, that is a lot of objects. As you can see though, while I'm waiting on that to select, it does give me a pretty good result for realistic looking grass. If I were to duplicate those and play around with them a little bit more, I could get some really good results. But the challenge is obviously, with the hardware I have, it can't really be done in the way that I would want to because it's a little too heavy. So I'm probably going to have to just call it quits here because this is going to go on for a little while, as you can see, and let Inkscape do its thing and see if this one is done. But in any case, I'm going to cut the stream here. I think we've made some good progress on this scene. It's almost complete. Basically all I want to do is put some grass on the other side and finish this side as well. And I think that will be pretty much it for this scene. I don't want to complicate it any further. I like the simplicity of it and how it has come together. I hope you've been able to learn some techniques along the way. Next time, I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing yet in terms of graphics, but we will be hopefully getting back to some more structured stuff in the near future, as I mentioned. This project is pretty much nearing completion. So next week, if I do stream next week, will probably be the conclusion of this particular project. And following that, we will see what happens. But also, you can remember to look out for the continuation of my front-end design project on Thursday, and I'm probably going to intersperse some more chill and relaxed streams here and there where we just do some random stuff and, you know, some random mock-ups or designs or whatever, or maybe just some drawings that I just, take some time to let off some steam, maybe chat a little bit or whatever. And in between, I'm also going to try to get out some tutorials here and there where I can. So yeah, until next week, I am Roland Taylor, aka Roland Dixar. Well, until Thursday, I should say, because remember, there's a stream on Thursday. But yeah, for those who watch only graphics, until next week, yeah, I'm Roland Taylor, aka Roland Dixar. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell your dog, tell your cat, and especially tell your chickens, because I really like those. So tell your pets and everything they can watch my streams and have a good time and learn something. So yeah, make sure you check out my streaming page and my stores, and hopefully I will have my blog active soon. I keep promising to do that, but sometimes I get busy or sometimes I forget, but hopefully I will have that up and running soon. So yeah, as I said, you can check out all my channels. You know where I am: Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. Let me just bring those up on the screen quickly. Yeah, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, you can check me on there. And you can also check out my link tree to find all the links to all of my websites and resources. So, I will see you all on Thursday, and for graphics people, see you next week.